Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jim Lovell. I was one of the 3 astronauts on the Apollo 13 mission.
And my name is Gene Kranz. I was the Mission Control Flight Director for the Apollo 13 mission. We are here today to commemorate the groundbreaking Apollo 13 mission that took place on April 11th to April 17th, 1970.
This mission was important in NASA history because it is known as the mission that went from failure to success.
Mission Control had to save lives from nearly 200,000 miles away. It was a very intense time knowing that 3 people could die, and this could be the mission that lost astronauts in space. That was not going to happen.
During a simulation before the launch, we found that the oxygen levels in oxygen tank 2 were going down. We did not consider this a viable threat and considered it the least of our concerns.
The astronauts were doing a broadcast that went live on TV. Almost 9 minutes later, at 56 hours into the mission, I sent out orders to stir the oxygen tanks, as a standard procedure.
We then heard an explosion, and Jack Swigert said, "I believe we've had a problem here."
Jack Bluesman from Mission Control then said, "This is Houston, say again please."
And I said, "Houston, we've had a problem." We found out that oxygen tank 2 was turned into a bomb, which exploded, which ruptured the first oxygen tank.
Mission Control's first reaction was calm but worried. Hearing about a problem was never a good thing. They said that the oxygen levels were going down fast.
We also found out that the explosion had caused the loss of 2 of the 3 fuel cells, which provided electricity, which meant we were losing power.
With this loss of power, they may have not had enough to get home. The power had to be shut off and the heat went down dramatically.
An hour and 29 minutes after the problem, Mission Control said that they were starting to think about the lunar module lifeboat. We said that we were thinking the same thing.
Sending the crew into the lunar module could either make or break this mission. We decided it was our only option, so we sent the crew into the lunar module.
The lunar module was equipped to only hold 2 people and meant to land on the moon. Somehow, the 3 of us had to survive in it for the rest of the mission.
The lunar module living conditions were close to terrible. There was little water, so the crew had to drink a limited amount.
Mission Control estimated that we would run out of water 5 hours before re-entering to Earth. We had to only consume 6 ounces, 1/5 of the average amount. I lost 14 pounds, and in total, the crew lost 31.5 pounds.
The lunar module was cold, but not nearly as cold as the command module. So since the oxygen levels were going down, the carbon dioxide levels were going up, which was a huge concern. The astronauts could die from carbon dioxide poisoning if we didn't fix this issue.
The only way we could fix this problem was by using the lithium hydroxide canisters. The lunar module didn't have enough canisters to recycle all the carbon dioxide, but the command module did. But in order to use the command module canisters, we would have to fit a square peg in a round hole, which doesn't work very well.
Mission Control thought of the idea to make a device that would allow the canister to fit. This device was made up of materials that they had on ship, such as plastic bags, suit tubing, duct tape, and cardboard.
So Mission Control made this device on Earth and told Swigert the step-by-step instructions to recreate it in space. This was great exchange between land and space. What this machine did was draw out the carbon dioxide and recycle it back into the ship as fresh oxygen.
Yes, without this device, these astronauts were as good as dead.
This is a representation of the device. We had to modify the square filter from the command module to fit in the place of the circular canister from the lunar module.
The crew had to take the lithium hydroxide canister and place a plastic bag over it. Then they inserted the suit tubing in a small hole in the plastic bag, which was then tightly closed with duct tape. Then they put the cardboard from the flight plan over the tubing to prevent the tubing from being crushed. The air would go through the filter, travel through the tubing, and then travel through the rest of the system, and be ventilated out as fresh oxygen. This device saved the astronauts.
After we had fixed that problem, we started to plan our route home. We chose to do a free return trajectory. This assured that the ship would loop around the moon and return back to Earth.
This was a huge decision. Even though it would take more fuel, it would absolutely bring them home.
Yes, the other option may not have brought us home, but it used less fuel. It was a very hard decision, but we finally decided it was best not to take the risk.
I sent men to do the math ASAP. We decided that the free return trajectory would be safer and faster. This is what we chose to do, and the rest of the mission we prayed that this would work. From looping around the moon, this mission ended up being the farthest mission into space. No other mission traveled by astronauts has gone farther.
4 hours before re-entering to Earth, we had to undock the service module. It looked like a giant mess floating in space. We then left the lunar module and re-entered the cold command module. We were afraid that the command module wouldn't work due to it being powered down for so long. There was condensation on the instrument panel, which had us afraid that it would short out when we started it back up. Fortunately, that did not happen.
Now was the time to see if all of our work and dedication paid off and the astronauts survived, or would all of our work and dedication be lost. When re-entering Earth's atmosphere, the radio signal would be cut off. When the signal was cut off, we would have no idea what was happening. Was the ship exploding, or was it okay? Then they re-entered Earth's atmosphere. You could hear a pin drop with the silence awaiting their response. There was a timer saying how long the signal was cut off. Once the regular time for the signal to come back on came, there was nothing. We called repeatedly waiting for a response. After almost a minute and a half after the regular time for the signal to come back on, there was nothing, and all hope seemed to have been lost.
From the ship, we had finally heard mission control, and we responded. My crew and I, with the help of mission control, had survived this near-death experience. All was well, and we splashed down into the Pacific near the Samoa Islands. We were then brought to land to see our families and rejoice in the fact that we had survived.
This mission encountered many problems and explored many solutions to these problems. We learned to never underestimate a problem, and anything could happen during space travel. We have some spare time for some questions, so does anybody have any questions for either of us? Yes?
This question is for Mr. Martin. What size was the area the three of you were in inside the lunar module?
As you can see in this diagram, the lunar module is a cylinder shape. It was approximately 7.5 feet in diameter and 3 feet deep. Are there any questions? Yes?
This one is for Mr. Crab. Did Mission Control ever sleep?
Mission Control was composed of separate teams: white, gold, maroon, and black. These teams would alternate every once in a while, so the crew got a chance to sleep. But some people chose to stay behind to know what was happening. So some slept and some chose not to.
Unfortunately, we have run out of time for questions. So on behalf of myself and Jean Kranz, we would like to thank the San Diego Air and Space Museum for having us today, and we hope you enjoyed our brief discussion about Apollo 13. Have a nice day.